So today I thought I would talk about how you can create a great structure for games, particularly in C++. You can apply this same thing to Java or JavaScript or any language. It is basically a good structure for games and game management. What I'm talking about is normally when you are trying to create a game, a very basic game in like C++ or something, and you are trying to create it using an iterative approach. Like, for example, if I have a snake in a snake game, what I would do is create a board for the snake, and then the snake would be able to move in that board. That's standard stuff. But imagine that you have a snake and you have created all of your code like this: a snake, it can move and all of that. There are bonus for it. There are bullets that the snake can eat and everything like that. But after a while you would realize that what normally you would try to do is create this snake in a loop, and in a while loop the snake would be running, and you would also write the code for spawning these bullets in that same while loop, right? Because you cannot run two while loops at once unless you go in threads. So basically there would be a code for input, and then there will be snake move, and then there would be check for bullet slash food, make a new bullet. There would also be something like collisions, and all of this would be happening in a single while loop, right? That's totally fine. But this gets very messy. Like, imagine if you had a different game, or like a snake with multiple bullets, or many bonus and things like that. This will all be in a single while loop, right? So that's very messy. And then there is another thing: what if you want to have a two-player snake, or like a wall that can move or something, right? Then you would have to do that in while loop, all of this in a while loop, and then there would be more things in a while loop. And then actually the problem is that it isn't very sustainable. Like, you cannot easily add and remove things from this game. I can call it this the game board. You cannot add things to this and remove things from this. So this is actually a problem with the structure. The problem is that in normal games we have a single while loop, and what we want to do is manage this while loop somehow in a very dynamic way. We don't want all of this code in this single while loop. We want it to be modular. So, and we also want the structure to be something dynamic. Like, we would be able to add anything into this while loop and remove anything from this while loop without actually adding or removing code from the while loop. So I'm going to try and create a basic game and try and create a structure that does all of this in this video. So first of all, let's get the basic code running. Also, I would like to create an iterative version of this. An iterative version of this isn't very great, but I would still like to start from the basic. So I would create two versions, one with objects and one with functions. So the one with functions, it won't be that great, because the properties that you get with object orientation, they make a lot of this possible. but you don't get those same attributes with an iterative approach. You can get it, but the code will get I think it's beyond the scope of basic C++, because you would be dealing with function pointers and all of that. I don't want to delve into all of that here. So let's start with the drawing process. You can actually draw using simple cout statements, but like I said, that isn't very dynamic, and for games where things can overlap, this won't be a very good solution. So it would be a much better approach to store all of the things that you want to display on the screen in an array, so that you can modify that array while you are generating the code. So let's actually make an array. I'm going to assume that it's going to be 30 by 30 just for starters. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to test on this board. Actually we should move this in a separate function. Let's call it clean board. Just to make things much more cleaner. And let's also use system_cls. System_cls is basically a console command. It is used to clear the screen. Like if I have something here, and if I do this hello would not appear on screen because I'm using a system clear. This actually clears the screen. So right, if I execute this, oh yeah, it's a character array. Alright, so nothing appeared because I use a system clear. Let's actually display this, and yeah, I have to call this already as well. Right, so I need to modify these right now. They are too much. So let's go with rows and columns. So let's go with 25 rows and 60 columns. Let's actually do this. Rows 25. So whenever I want to change my rows and columns, I can use these. I can modify these now. These are preprocessed directives. I can write what I want to label and then the value of that label. So I am labeling rows as 25 and I am labeling columns as 60. So if I write rows here, it will now be replaced by the value 25, and if I write cols here, the value will be replaced by 60. So I can use these to make the code a bit more dynamic. You can also skip this if you want. It's up to you. Alright, so now we have a game function that will run our game. Right now the game, what the game does is it cleans the board. Like it, we have an array that stores what we are going to display on the screen, right? So this is what we are going to display on the screen. First of all, we clean it by placing X in all of the locations that we are going to display, and then we're going to draw it. Draw will simply clear screen so that anything that's currently on the screen, it will go away, and then it will simply display everything in our array one by one. So we will have we should have a game board like this. And now this is actually our screen. We can place anything in this area, and it will display on, like anything we place in this array, it will show to the user. So we can place things here and remove things from here in order to show things to the user, and in order to not show things to the user. So next, what we can do this is write some game logic. We have clean board, we have draw board, and in between this we can write our game logic. So this is still not very dynamic, but we are moving towards a much dynamic procedure for our game.